The woman was very shy inside. She was actually picked up by him, making her have no time to prepare for it, slowly panting to hold up her body, and asked Bai Dai to stop the following action. Let me apply the medicine. Okay. Bai Dai's gentle eyes instantly changed. With me to do still need to smear medicine. Slowly, shyly whispered in his ear. I do not want to give birth to a baby. His eyes couldn't be seen to become lost, lowered his head inside the struggle to accept them. So after a few moments of silence, Bai Dai's low magnetic voice sounded. The potion is in this bottle. He did not wait for the little female's response, directly reached out and took it, and said he would wipe it for him. The little female opened her mouth wide to express her astonishment. Why are you all doing this? What kind of love interest is this in the end? Only to see Bai Dai had already poured the potion onto his hand, and with a face that insisted on applying it for her, she really couldn't refuse. His broad and warm palms gradually and slowly moved downwards until it reached that place and stopped. His big hands began to rub powerfully, slowly and uncontrollably hummed out. That place was very shy for herself. White Emperor seems to be extremely restrained restlessness, but also in the young girl's ear whispering, want to go further down inside a little, waiting until all the application is completed. I die. This is a light breath, moving long eyelashes flickering. Then I'm going to come in. Slowly, you are my mate. I want to really have you become your most important person. The little female gasped in enjoyment and shyness. Why, you're the first orc I've ever met, the most important family member I've ever had in this world. They both reached the peak of their relationship, kissing with physical and mental satisfaction and pleasure. Suddenly she felt a flash of something strange. The restlessness in her body made her cry out. In her heart, Bai Dai is the most important person. Bai Dai looked up with a flushed face. His eyes did not seem to be satisfied, so he whispered softly, I'll carry you back to your room. She was stunned, eyes wide open. Bean-sized small teardrops are still hanging in the eyes. It looked to fall, not to fall. White Emperor seems to feel her nervousness. Doting hooked up is my. This thing we are not yet finished. When the end has been forgotten, only know that when I woke up, it was already the next day afternoon. Bai Dai and Frosty Cloud both tried their best to stop me from going to find Sang Night, and slowly I just had to give up. Only after Sang Yeo had left for good did Bai Dai and Frosty Cloud bring me to the vegetable field, but there seemed to be a sound coming from the distance. It turned out to be your mate, black-skinned Frosty Cloud, who was holding two large wooden buckets to deliver water. Sweet water vegetables need a lot of watering. It's too tiring to keep you running around. Frosty Cloud waved his hand with disinterest. It's all a piece of cake. Slowly the next proposal shocked him. Actually want to dig a large water canal. Frosty Cloud was full of questions and puzzled. As the wolf clan leader himself, he didn't even know what an aqueduct was. She patiently demonstrated for him to explain. To bring the water from the river to the vegetable field. In the future, watering will be much more convenient. Frosty Cloud's little beads of sweat broke out in disbelief. Although the little female was very smart, was this thing really feasible? Bai Dai suddenly appeared behind them. His low and magnetic voice came out. I think this idea is very good. My family slow always have all kinds of godly ideas, and in the end they all work. I believe that this time it will definitely work as well. She was touched by the feeling of being trusted. Frosty Cloud was not willing to lag behind. I also believe that slowly we'll be able to do it. So early the next morning, the aqueduct project began to take action. Frosty Cloud led the orcs to dig an aqueduct by the river. He is worthy of being the leader of the wolf clan. He even drove a few orcs to work with great vigor, as if everything was easy. Just see the small orcs suddenly become the body, arranged in an orderly manner. Bright claws, frantically digging holes in the ground. I was thinking of making a few hoes, but the claws of the orcs are much stronger. Little Frosty Cloud was just about to rest for a moment when he noticed his little female shouting adorably across the street to slow down. You white tender don't sunbathe here. Little female soft explanation. I come to pick some vegetables by the way to see you. Although the orc state is sometimes very odd, but the wolf Frost Cloud is not too cute. She waved her hand, intending to leave, and reminded Frost Cloud to go home early. They were waiting for him to have dinner together. The love-brain matriarch came online at once. Her little face flushed as she wagged her tail. My family just can't stay away from me. The little woman walked forward with a basket of vegetables on her back. The sunlight shone warmly on her body, causing her to slow down her pace. These beets should be almost ready. Slowly holding the basket of vegetables, very satisfied. Crystal clear, big eyes blinking. I did not expect this trip. There are other games. The ground actually fell a lot of wild fruit. This fruit should be able to eat it. So she smiled happily. The fruit can be taken back to make gem. Is not very delicious. She picked up the fruits and intended to leave, unaware that behind her on the tree, a snake's tail drooped silently. The python seemed to feel something strange, and the tip of its tail actually wiggled violently. It seemed to be staring at the figure of the little female, its body happily spitting out its tongue, as if signaling its next move. After 3 days of hard work by the orcs, the first aqueduct was successfully dug. The fruits of their victory hung high. Each one was red and looked sweet and savory. Bai Dai just climbed up the tree to pick the fruits, when the delicate voice of Chuyu rang out. Dear Bai Dai, be careful. She and Frosty Cloud were at the bottom picking up the fruits, and many fruits were falling down from above, making them look in a good mood. Luckily, we don't have many fruit trees. We finally finished picking them before dark. We'll find a chance to put them in the space. The other orcs were also very busy. After all, this was their harvest. The harvested fruits and vegetables are too many, although the space can accommodate them, but they are more than the tribe can digest. White Emperor, like an old father, urged, do you want to consider selling some? Otherwise it would be a pity to let it go bad. Don't you forget, the Rockwolf clan has a regular market, and there will be beastmen from other clans too. Trading our fruits and vegetables for something else sounds like a good idea. On the day of the fair, since it was the first fair of the spring, all the nearby tribes came to trade, slowly standing on the side of the uneasy feeling. Then the last market orcs more. At this time an arm reached out to her, directly lifted the little female to the top of the arm. White Emperor is like a sweet big brother, blocking all the sight for her. We are over there. Frost Cloud has already found a good position. I saw the black-skinned Frosty waving vigorously from the opposite side of the street and shouting at the top of his voice. Our stall is here. Frost Cloud brought the vegetables and fruits ahead of time. They were neatly and orderly lined up, waiting for the other orcs to deal with them. Slowly confident in myself, the vegetables and fruits I grew are sweet and delicious, as long as those who have eaten them will never forget them. There are so many orcs today. Surely I can sell them all, and then exchange them for crystals to complete the mission, and go to the peak of life. Half an hour later, the bazaar was full of orcs, all of them with big bags full of money. I looked at the noisy street. The sweat of loss gradually flowed down. My vegetables were not bought by orcs at all. After all, except for the Rocky Wolf orcs. Most of the orcs here eat meat, and I have never seen these things before. I'm afraid of the deep alley. It seems that I have to rely on myself to shout. Delicious beets and fruits, everyone to try it. Don't miss it. This shouting out directly to the two little wolf and tiger, confused, slowly do not care what they think. Beautiful female sister, want to try to eat a little. After eating the skin moist and better look, the beastman smelled a little disgusted. You cannot be lying. There is no meat aroma. Frost Cloud angrily came. It grabbed his collar, threatened. Dare to say that slow-planted things do not taste good. Simply looking for death. Female sister tasted a small fruit. Suddenly her eyes lit up. The taste is really good. I want some. Slowly, having just made a deal, welcomed a second female sister. Is this fruit really tasty? The orc said, since my female likes it, I'll take all of these, and slowly told the crowd, I want herbs or crystals in exchange. The beastman scratched his head in embarrassment. I don't have any crystals. Herbs? What are herbs? Slowly, she was about to take out the sheepskin map. At this time, the White Emperor shielded her from view and gently urged the little female not to let others see your sheepskin atlas. Words and books are very precious. If you take them out rashly, you will cause some unnecessary trouble. White Emperor is right, I am too careless, but it's not hard to slow down. I'll dictate to you the shape of the herbs. It's this and then that shape. The little rabbit orc in the back of the room's eyes lit up and shouted exaggeratedly from the back of the room, I know this kind of plant you're talking about. He didn't wait for anyone's reaction. He went home quickly after the notification and told her that he would bring it right away. As expected, he acted very quickly. The little rabbit man held the herb in both hands and walked towards the front. You quickly see is this kind of grass. I didn't realize that this was a herb that can clear heat and relieve coughs. It's one of the herbs I need. The rabbit wanted 50 fruits, or some crisp vegetables. Is this okay? Then I will give you 10 sweet fruits, 10 crispy fruits, and 10 sweet water crasses. The little rabbit man nodded approvingly. Our tribe still has a lot more. We can come and get it. At this time, Bai Dai suddenly spoke. We will be here every market day. Come to buy if you need it. Dongyu returned with his bag full of vegetables. The tribe will love these vegetables. It seems that exchanging fruits and vegetables for medicinal herbs is feasible. I hope I can have a chance to exchange them for crystals today. The sun is gradually starting to set. The setting sun gradually shines on the earth. There are still many orcs in the marketplace, slowly at the side of the very embarrassed and helpless. It seems that I still think too beautiful. Fruits were sold out and vegetables were sold out, but she didn't receive a single crystal stone. White Emperor is responsible for solving her problems. Crystals are very precious. Basically will not appear here. It seems that the system's mission is not easy to complete this time. I still want to collect 5 colors of crystals. The White Emperor seems to be able to see through her thoughts at a glance. Do you want the crystals so badly? He can't get them if the female says she wants them. Seeing that it is really the most reliable male, he opened his hand and said that he had saved the crystals. Do you need them? In the center of Bai Dai's big hand, there were 2 pieces, one blue and one red. Slowly, her heart was overwhelmed with excitement. These are the colors I don't have. So she took it with both hands, and the system began to broadcast. Receive the red and blue crystals. The host's quest progress is still short of 1 piece. Already have 4 crystals. Just 1 last crystal. One will be able to complete the task. Frosty Cloud, on the other hand, was very upset that the Death Tiger was looking for another opportunity to please slowly. We can also ask the Witch Doctor of the Black River tribe. He has a lot of knowledge. Maybe he can have the crystals you want. White Emperor nodded with approval. Let's pack up and go to the tribe. Frosty Cloud shouted fiercely. Don't order me, Stinky Tiger. Slowly to this quarrel is not strange. Let's quickly pack up and set off. Set off to the Black River tribe to look for crystals. Inside the Black River Wild Horse tribe, a house built of straw. The orcs have a very free nature. Half of them look like human beings, but the bottom half of their bodies are horses' hooves. The witch doctor of the Black River Wild Horse tribe, Melly, looked at them in puzzlement. What are you doing here looking for me? He swore with certainty as well as certainty that I will not let the Wild Horse tribe be used by you. And Frosty Cloud moved forward to make him calm down. It's better to have 1 more ally than 1 more enemy. I think you guys can be allies. As I was told by Longzhu, the witch doctor, Manly seems to be thinking of a deceased person. His expression suddenly relaxed a bit. That old man died a very unhappy death. Right. He expected it, but he still poked around like this. Manly and the witch doctor seemed to have known each other before. Dr. Longzhu fought to the end, protecting our rock wolves and their descendants. As superhero of our clan, you were willing to convince the Wild Horse clan chief to help us fight the Black River Wolves, but you also wanted to avenge Longzhu's death, didn't you? You're overthinking it. It's just that we're all witch doctors and we feel sorry for him. But he mentioned Longzhu witch doctor. Manly witch doctor looks a bit sad. Is it a good friend? As expected, she was right. Manly even began to spit. After all, to death is still an old bachelor. Frosty Cloud won't allow anyone to say anything bad about him. Monk Knight Witch Doctor, aren't you also an old bachelor? Dare to say something bad about Longzhu Witch Doctor? This Witch Doctor Manly looks strange. When he talks about Witch Doctor Longzhu, he becomes very strange. Maybe they are both witch doctors. They sympathize with each other. That's why they can let go of Longzhu's death. Monique is full of questions. Have you decided on a new witch doctor? Of course, it's not that easy for us to replace the witch doctor, but this time we're here mainly to exchange items. He looked impatient and cried, what do you have to exchange? It's my female, who wants to exchange fruits and vegetables for medicinal herbs or crystals, and no one else has any, so of course I'm coming to you. Manly seemed to hear a sentence. You're female. You really have a female. Only to see the small female hiding behind him is looking at him with a worried face. You even turn character as a female. I thought that you want to go Longzhu's old way. Frost Cloud hastily explained. That is, I did not sincerely love each other before. This feeling of love, you probably won't have it for the rest of your life. Monday Lee Witch Doctor, as if stabbed into a knife, slowly watched them fight back and forth. These beastmen are childish ghosts. Manly said he would not give them herbs. Their things are good if the crystals he did have. The little female said only the introduction cannot. You still often this sweetheart dishes. And then we are talking about the crystal stone. Out of curiosity, he walked forward and folded off a leaf. Originally impatient, Witch Doctor Manly sighed after tasting it. This leaf is really delicious. This vegetable is our unique variety, and we will have more fruits and vegetables soon. I think you wild horses will like it. It does taste good. He couldn't help but think back to the old days when that tribe was still poor and destitute. The Rockwolf tribe wouldn't have had this plan before. Was it only when she came along that all this started to happen? He suddenly felt that his thoughts were a bit far away, so he looked at them with great satisfaction. This dish is very good. 2 crystals should be enough. Buy all your vegetables and fruits. Slowly, he said in his heart that it was a pity that it was colorless crystals, but after all, it was better than nothing. If you have other colored crystals on your side, you can also exchange them for vegetables and fruits. Mainly was instantly adorable. Frost Cloud, this little female character is good. There is nothing to do. Quickly go. The Wild Horse clan does not welcome you. Slowly suddenly shouted, almost forgot. Machin has not been found so far. That guy is really cunning. After escaping from the Black River tribe, his whereabouts have been unknown. It's not easy to catch him. Can we put out a wanted notice? The orcs said that it was the first time they heard that there was such a thing as a wanted notice, and exactly how to use it, slowly explaining for the crowd. That is, whoever can catch Machin or provide clues will give him a generous reward. Although this is a very good solution, but we do not know what he looks like. How to tell everyone a wanted poster needs a portrait to identify the target. Let me take care of this problem. By Dai and Frosty Cloud were surprised. How can a small female be so smart? It seems that no problem is too hard for her to handle. She suddenly thought that there was no ink, so she had to turn around and ask Manly if there was any liquid that could leave a mark. She didn't expect this witch doctor to say something amazing. The wild horse tribe has animal blood. When it was too late, Manly had already brought out the blood. This is what they used to record for marking. She secretly gave in her cheer. Can only use the blood to talk first. Later must find something. Can replace to do the ink. But the technique of drawing portraits, she could only take off her robes beforehand. After all, this blood stains she very much do not like. Ink stained on the outer robe can be a problem. This is her favorite robe. Manly stood by the side was very surprised. She is the female of the Frost Cloud. Although the little female is a small body, but the body is very white and beautiful. The guy seemed to be able to see through them. Slowly stretched out a small finger and dipped a few drops of blood in the bowl. Then she used her finger to draw on the scroll. Although her body was small, her brain was not good. She was very familiar with the look of the hemp green. The three orcs in the room all had serious faces, staring at her movements carefully. What exactly was this little female going to do? I bit my finger, stretched out my hand on the animal skin, and began to draw carefully, using blood to carefully depict a portrait of a person. After the quick drawing, I thought that while the blood was still wet, so I quickly turned my head and asked the White Emperor for another piece of animal skin. White Emperor took over a large group of animal skin. This cannot. I quickly reached out to take over, and then lowered his head to measure a bit, and even said yes. Subsequently, this large piece of animal skin, carefully spread and leveled out, placed on the ground to press the animal skin flat, followed by the start of topography. Frosty Cloud looked at this wave of my operation, puzzled to stand in place, touched his chin, full of question marks. What is this doing? I looked seriously at the animal skin on the ground, reached out and pressed down firmly, almost ready, then stood up, reach out and take the two skins shake off, and then show everyone. Finally, topography is ready. You look, everyone is shocked. All of a sudden it became to portraits. Even the honorable females in the medium-sized city had never heard of knowing this. How did this little female get such a powerful spell? So I told everyone to just use this method. A simple topography, 10 down scenes of portraits can be completed very quickly. The White Emperor is also very shocked. Slow can read and right can draw pictures. Know a variety of dishes. How could it be so powerful? Looking at the girl in front of him, who was constantly shining because of her knowledge, was simply shocking. The knowledge she knows is just too much. Frosty Cloud looked at such a girl. Her face was shocked, her face slightly reddened with admiration. Couldn't help but murmur in a low voice. Then TSKED. Frost Cloud for the first time had a worry. Would it not be good enough for ease? Bai Dai also heard it. He also had the same thought in his heart. His face deepened as he reminded. Then work hard to raise the level of the beast's soul, lest he be left behind by slowly in the future. Soon I was holding several sheets of animal skin, rolled into a large roll, reached out and handed it to Effort Frosty Cloud. Almost talked up the room sheet. Haven't drawn for a long time. A little hand raw. The painting is not very good, but the Frost Cloud had seriously look at me. Not stingy praise. No one can draw better than you. He had a blush of anticipation, asked, later when we have children, can you teach them to draw and write? I did not think he would ask this question. At the sight of the orcs heard this sentence. Instantly expression suddenly changed. Very unbelievable. In her shock, Frost Cloud suddenly woke up and realized that he had said the wrong thing. Frost Cloud, what on earth are you babbling on about? So can help but think. So precious knowledge. General orcs will be treated as a most important secret. And Slow now do not want children. How can I just open my mouth to let Slow teach it? So he's somewhat guilty about his head. Slowly sorry. Should not say so. Just apologize. Frost Cloud next second was shocked, because I happily responded. Kana, if I have children, of course I will teach them all. If there are skills, maybe it will make them, in this world, easier to survive it. White Emperor and Frost Cloud heard this. They were shocked and shouted, incredibly reminded. Such an important skill. Do not have to be reluctant to teach it. I smiled and told them, there's no need to force it, although I'm not ready now. But when I have children, I'll teach them what I know. I'll teach them all. By die, Frosty Cloud, our future life will definitely get better and better. And then moved forward to hold the hands of the two men. By die deeply looked down at the girl, only to hear his voice softly shouting slow, then fell into deep memories. The first time I saw Ace, she had no body, just a lonely little female, weak and helpless. Her heart was pure and she treated everyone with sincerity. She was so good, and we were so lucky to have her. But then she showed more and more surprising powers. She can make a lot of things, all kinds of novelty. She can do all kinds of things. It's just shocking. If she left the Rockwolf clan in the future and went to a mid-level C or even a BC, she might not be able to hide her abilities anymore. The secrets and abilities on Slowly's body will surely attract the attention of those guys. I must be careful at that time, the envoy thought to himself. It's really that simple to get so many portraits out, and they're exactly the same. And this little female even casually passed on this magical skill to others. It's really scary. Is this the hidden power of the Rockwolf clan? Hearing a voice coming from behind him. So is the clan leader. Booker asked, this is the portrait of Ma Qing. The painting is quite similar. Why are you guys here again? Why are you Rockwolf so annoying? Frost Cloud provoked him. I came to bring my little female to exchange goods with you. Booker's face was ugly, very puzzled by his mate. At this time Slowly stood out, then bowed his head to greet Booker with a big smile. Booker saw Slowly, instantly like a thunderbolt from the sky, inwardly wailing and crying, such a beautiful and lovely mate. The same patriarch. I am still a bachelor. Manly again lowered his head and came closer, muttering in Booker's ear, tell him what just happened. Booker's face was gloomy. I heard the witch doctor Manly say, you are selling good vegetables and fruits. I intend to come to buy some. So Whitey stood out and asked, so, Chief Booker, do you have any color crystal stones other than colorless? Booker frowned tightly, his face dark, very serious look. He lightly opened his lips and asked, what color do you want? White Emperor told him, purple or gold can be. Really do not have if green is also okay. Booker's cheeks crossed a drop of cold sweat. He looked grim. Purple and gold are both medium crystals. You've got a big mouth, he said, but Bai Dai didn't back down. The atmosphere between the two is tense. Medium crystals can be exchanged by going to the exchange in BC. I don't want to go there, because I think it's too far away. If you want to trade in the B-City exchange, you need to have more than 3 stars and a guarantor. This male orc's origin is not simple. Booker had to take a bag of crystals. Hand it over? So I quickly reached out and took it. Happily opened the bag, put in the heart of the hand observation, finally set up, and finally with 30 colorless crystals, for a green crystal. But I didn't expect this green crystal to emit a glittering light, and the scene behind me quickly changed. I couldn't help but marvel at it. At this time, the system prompted me, congratulations to the host for completing the 5-colored crystal collection task and obtaining a special reward. I stood in this white space, looking around. Is this the world of the system? Just at this time the sky suddenly appeared objects. It was a light blue rectangular box. I thought with some anticipation, what kind of reward would it be? Soon the box was opened. It was a book and a compass. So I reached out and took the book, and on it was the first volume of the mineral illustrated book. Then I got the compass. It's so small and delicate, but what's the purpose of this? I was puzzled. The system suddenly prompted me. This is a treasure hunting compass. Wide-eyed and a little shocked, began to listen carefully to the system's introduction. The system seriously explains, it can help you to find the vein within a radius of 500 meters. Heard this sentence, I instantly excited eyes, clenched fists, happy thought. This is a vein. Countless gold and silver treasure. Carefully and seriously look at the hand. Cannot help but think, this small compass can really find the vein of ore. I used to be just a miserable office worker and could not afford to buy gems and diamonds. Suddenly I frowned for a moment, as if I thought of something. In my heart, I laughed out loud. Do I want to achieve freedom of wealth in this beast world? Diamonds, gold and silver mines. I'm coming. But suddenly my face fell down, embarrassed and frownsy in place. With their current conditions, cannot smell metal. I can't help but cry in my heart, annoyed at what I've missed out on. At this time, the system suddenly voiced, the host has completed all the tasks in the novice period. The system will soon be upgraded. During the period automatically fall into a state of dormancy. I couldn't help but stare in disbelief and ask the system, you're going to go into hibernation? The system told her, the level of the system also follows the host level of improvement changes. The host then just came to this world, become stronger. I was touched by the time. The next second, the system's cold and inorganic voice rang out, just a little bit, and even stretched out his hand then. I couldn't help but complain that it was so annoying. After the system is upgraded, it will open up different functions according to the host's physique, and the specific content is waiting to be reopened. looking up at the system slowly and on the eyes. Cannot help but think, sounds like a very powerful look, but in advance I also have to become stronger. So I opened my mouth and clenched my fists to cheer myself up. I wish you success in upgrading. I will also cheer up. The system lowered its head and smiled gently at me and promised to do so. Also sent me a blessing, also wishing an early birth. I could not help but slide a drop of cold sweat on my head. This will not be necessary. The system then quickly disappeared, bidding me farewell. Then we'll see you after the upgrade. So in a flash, I blinked and was back in the beast world, just in time to hear someone shouting at me. White Emperor and Frost Cloud were waiting not far away, looking back at me, reminding us that we were going back. So I answered in a hurry, out I back, thinking that I had to hurry up and put away the compass and book first, and then study it in detail when it was safe to do so. Frost Cloud told by Dai, I still have to rush back, the Black River tribe, to see the situation, and then go back to the Rockwolf tribe and discuss with everyone about the vegetables that need to be picked and transported. White Emperor nodded, and all of a sudden bent down and transformed into the appearance of a humanoid white tiger, and turned his head to look at me, telling me to come up quickly. So I Saturday on White Emperor's tiger's back, and Frost Cloud also changed back to his wolf body, carrying a big parcel, ready to go back together. I turned my head and looked at Frosty. If it was 2 months ago, I wouldn't have dared to think that I would be riding on a tiger now. I couldn't help but put my face on the tiger's back, happily thinking about White Emperor's fur. It's so beautiful and soft. It's too comfortable to touch around. As White Emperor said before, there are often cross-species combinations between orcs, and the offspring conceived is based on who is stronger. That is to say, if the parents are stronger, then the offspring will be stronger than the parents. In other words, if I get pregnant in the future, I'll give birth to a tiger cub or a wolf cub. So I stretched out my hand and gently stroked my belly with happy anticipation and a gentle face, although it was hard to imagine. But if it was my child, it should be very cute, right? I reached out and gathered the clothes on my body, looking forward to it. But unexpectedly, a sharp claw suddenly appeared in front of my eyes, grabbing something and cutting through my eyes. So I was caught off guard and startled. After I stabilized myself, I looked up to the sky and asked curiously if such a big bird was hunting. Frost Clouds aside obviously also noticed this scene, face dark in fierce anger, scolding, "Stinking bird, how dare you scare me!" slowly cursed and rushed to the front, chasing the bird to run. "You give me down. I want to teach you a lesson." Looking at him like this, I was a little speechless, but then feel a little funny. Did not hold back a snort of laughter. Frost Cloud's house so lovely, but also could not help but a little homesick. Raised his head in the heart thought, "Mom and Dad, I am not alone in this beast world. I will definitely live a good life." Sitting on the back of the White Emperor, looking up at the sky flying birds on the other side of the Rocky Mountain, there were several feathered people flying in the air. They were chattering and discussing something. "It's good to move here. The scenery is good, the terrain is good, and most importantly, at the foot of the mountain, there are a lot of crisp and tasty vegetables and fruits. I don't know why the wolf orcs, who only like to eat meat, want to grow vegetables. I hope the wolf chief will come back soon and trade fruits and vegetables with us." The children on the side obviously also heard these words. Some curious thoughts excitedly said to the companion beside him, "Have you heard? There are delicious fruits, but the sight of the little friend is a little afraid. The wolf clan old in the field. What can we do?" So they muttered and discussed an idea. "When they go back at night, then we can go." Soon it was evening, and a few children sneaked out into the field behind their parents' backs. The yellow kid was holding a red tomato. "Wouldn't it be a bad idea for us to steal them like this?" But the other kid didn't care. They didn't eat them. Wouldn't it be a waste? Anyway, when their patriarch comes back, our patriarch will discuss the amount with them. Forgive them not to dare to say anything. After saying that, he casually threw the fresh fruit in his hand onto the ground. He also said that he would have a good meal tonight, and stepped on the fruits without caring about them, and they were all trampled to pieces, sad and eyes glowing, looking at the green vegetables not far away, where the vegetables are particularly large, particularly watery. The gleeful stretch out his hand to the green vegetables to take, constantly him and Hosmai, "I want to eat a good time." Just as he was about to put it into his mouth, a huge snake with lustrous scales suddenly appeared on the side, startling him greatly. The kid was about to fly away when the snake opened its bloody mouth and bit him on the foot and calf, making him scream. His buddies noticed the scene and turned pale, shouting in a panicked manner, "There's a big snake here. Run away." The python looked at these little kids, so can help but be scared, instantly ran away, felt a burst of speechlessness. Saint Knight spat out his tongue, and thought seriously in his heart, "This is the vegetable field that slowly worked so hard to grow. No one can touch it. At this time I don't know when. I have fallen asleep." Sleepy slowly opened my eyes. The sunlight is warm and baked surrounding me. It was very comfortable, so I sat up and looked around, a little confused about where this place was. Still confused and did not react to it. Suddenly remembered, we did not return to the Rocky Mountain, ready to go to the Black River tribe today to exchange some things. I reached out and gathered the outer rib on the body. Suddenly, I heard a man's footsteps coming in. It was Baidi. He was holding a bowl of something in his hand. He quickly walked towards the bedside, reached out and handed it over. "I cooked vegetable broth. Drink some." I immediately stared with glowing eyes. I quickly finished the bowl, couldn't help but burp, and patted my stomach happily. I couldn't help worrying about myself. Would I become fat if I ate like this? The White Emperor was looking at me with caring eyes and asked what was wrong. I told him that I was worried that I would get fat if I ate too much. But the White Emperor held him in his arms and comforted him. "It's good to be fat. It's cute." Just as the two were hugging each other, I suddenly felt a line of sight that was staring grudgingly, so I raised my head to look. It was Frosty Cloud's. Piercing Cloud Arrow Girl found himself, anxiously came up and asked, "Why only let White Emperor hug you? I also want to hug you." He was a little jealous. When I heard this, Baidai hugged himself tightly behind me. I frowned for a moment. I was hugged back by Baidai again, so I had to somewhat shyly change the topic. "How is the business talk going?" Frost Clouds did not squeak for a moment, looking at the White Emperor tightly embraced his arm, has been scheming, his mouth very unhappy, rather resentful, but then immediately came up, gently sniffed the girl. "They want to pack all our vegetables and fruits. Vegetarian orcs are not the only wild horse tribe. The rabbit tribe, the sheep tribe, the cattle tribe will be interested in the things we grow. The more customers we have, the higher our price can be." Baidai heard these words and nodded, saying he knows. "After going back, we have to expand our vegetable fields and fruit forests. Thus the production can't keep up with the sales," Baidai said, while reaching out and hugging slowly, causing people to blush. These declothed beasts, while discussing things, while on their own up and down, tolerate no more. No need to tolerate. Face dark and heavy down. A foot kicked the two out of the cave. "You to hurry to catch up. Don't kiss and touch again." Frost Clouds and White Emperor, a face of confusion was driven out. A few people have been rushing, feel a little tasteless, in the neighborhood to find a new clear brook stop, begin to drink water to rest. Just after drinking the water, they looked up and noticed that there were two cute little rabbits on the opposite side of the river. As long as they crossed the river, they would be almost at the boundary of the Rockwolf clan. Just as I finished my thoughts, I heard someone shouting cheerfully, "Slow down, Frosty Cloud Clan Chief." So I quickly looked up and saw that it was the same person I saw last time. Surprised to find that it was the rabbit boy from last time. The beets from last time were very tasty. "Is there any more? We would like to exchange some of them." Frost Cloud at this time stood out. "Now what beat to many orcs? Need to see." The subtext is that we raised the price. I was a little surprised. Frost Cloud actually know how to bargain. Really cannot see it. Frost Cloud told the teenager, "Find more herbs and crystals to exchange it." The rabbit teenager speak really bad. While Frosty was bargaining with the rabbit boy, White Emperor seemed to notice something from the side, so I asked him in a strange way, "What's wrong?" White Emperor quickly turned his head when he heard me ask, and said on his lips that it was nothing, but on his hand. He couldn't help fiddling with the grass for a while. Couldn't help but think to myself, the track marks here are not marks that would be left by a wolf, or something like that. In the end, what kind of thing came here? Several people finally returned to the Rockwolf clan. They first came to the vegetable garden to check, but they didn't realize that the clansmen were noisily gathering together at this time. They were holding fruits and vegetables in their hands, and their expressions were very grave. And at this time, some people turned their heads and suddenly found that the clan leader had returned. Immediately liked to find the backbone of the same. "You can finally come back." I was a little curious to ask, why everyone in the vegetable field? What happened? The expressions of the beasts were all very sad and grave. "The vegetables in our field have been stolen." Some people kept saying that the vegetables had been stolen. Hearing this, my expression is also quickly grave, anxious to turn my head. Some worry that our family's vegetable fields and orchards, but I did not expect. Anxious to go over to check. The vegetable field is still neat and tidy. Surprisingly, nothing happened. Could not help but breathe a sigh of relief. And at this time, the White Emperor reached out his hand, found a white feather from the ground, picked it up. He carefully examined, sure of the answer. This is the feather of the feather tribe birds and beasts. Guessing that it may be they have been here, the beastman beside him spoke anxiously. You just left a few days ago. The Rocky Mountain came a group of feather tribe, want to set up their home on the top of our mountain. As he spoke, he reached out and pointed. Could the mountain top close to him be their doing? Frosty Cloud's face sank completely. The vegetables should have been stolen and eaten by the birds and beasts of the Feather Clan. I'll go to them to ask for an explanation. The clansmen responded in Tron. Must they give a statement? The Rocky Mountain cannot tolerate thieves. And at this time the mountain also suddenly appeared movement. Rockwolf Clan clansmen have looked up, some shocked. Is the mountaintop feathered man flew down? And that's when I noticed it too. Couldn't help but stare with wide eyes, somewhat curious. Each of them had huge wings and flew like angels, coming down in their direction. We all raised our heads to look at this group of feathered people. I can't help but look around, thinking that these feathered people are wearing clothes that are a little different from the wolf tribe orcs. It looks like the fabric material seems to be a little bit better. Just finished. They fell to the ground. At this time, the leader of the yellow-haired man opened his mouth and asked, "Who is the clan leader of the Rockwolf clan?" Frost Cloud then responded to him with a serious expression. "I am the clan leader of the Rockwolf clan." The yellow-haired feathered man was aggressive. "It's just as well that you have returned. We need you to give our clan an explanation. Where is the snake beast that injured our family's cubs?" Quickly handed him over. Frost heard this, his face gloomy, and eyes suddenly had a flash of light at this time. Couldn't help but frownsy for a moment. Doubtfully asked out, "What snake beast? What is going on?" But in my heart I was thinking, could it be saying night? Is he not gone yet? Blue-haired feathered man shouted, "Last night our cubs, together down the mountain to play, suffered a snake beast attack. Go back. The injury is too heavy to die." Frost Cloud also rushed to his angry shout. "This has nothing to do with us. It seems that these vegetable fields was spoiled like this. It is your feathered people engaged in the ghosted." The yellow-haired feathered man's face is gloomy. "Just a distraught vegetable field. Our loss is a cub's life. Is not you harboring the snake beasts? We will make you pay for it." Thinking that they were so arrogant and rude, so I shouted angrily, "These vegetables and fruits were planted to be used for exchanging things. It is obviously you feathered people, without our consent to steal vegetables, encountered accidents. Blame us." The feathered man's face was somber. How did he retort? Simply looking for death. I did not give in. The louder the more unreasonable. The two sides have been confronted. The yellow-haired feathered man began to plant. "The wolves planted these vegetables. Said what for something? Just to lure our cubs. And they heard them right." He also stared fiercely and said that the Rockwolf clan's heart couldn't be put to death. I was so angry by his shameless behavior that I couldn't speak. I didn't expect them to be so arrogant. "This is the snake beast from the hillside down. Saw this scene shouted, 'Your cubs are, I heard, something to come at me, with others have nothing to do with.' I saw a group of guys who do not know the depth of the guy, to steal food and also spoil the food. Feel bad on the mouth, want to take revenge to find me to revenge."